the kind of starting point for the film was that I wanted to do a portrait of the Winnipeg winter, the Canadian winter, and I wanted to contrast it with somewhere that was warm. And the actor who I wanted to work with was Roberto Villar, who is a Canadian, but he's originally from Portugal. So we decided that we would travel to Portugal to film the first part of the movie.
Nasceu dia quando o vento malvolia e o céu mar prolongava.
I had never been to Portugal prior to filming here. I don't speak the language at all, so I was a little bit at a disadvantage. So I was dependent on Rob to guide me. So he was speaking to the actors and stuff in Portuguese, and I would give him the English directions. I guess it's kind of a tricky tone because the story is kind of downbeat, but there is a lot of humor to it. It's a kind of a dark comedy, I guess. I would call it a black comedy. I think that the reason that there's a gentlemanship aspect to Rob's character is that I wrote the script specifically for Rob, so that was a big part of his personality. So I drew a lot from him and put that into the movie. So, for instance, he actually is a DJ in real life. Not that the story actually happened to him in any way, but just elements of the character's personality are from his real personality.
Bom dia.
Is this Robert?
Sim.
Robert, you got me pregnant.
Thanks, asshole.
I was interested in kind of doing a portrait on exactly that, loneliness and isolation. So there's a character who's isolated at the beginning in Portugal, which is depicted as a very beautiful place with a lot of stuff going on, but the character's still isolated. And then we bring him to Canada, and he's still isolated, but his situation's much worse because the conditions are much worse. It's very cold, and he has no money and all that. I think what's hopeful about the story is that the character continues in spite of everything. It's kind of like a modern version of Charlie Chaplin, you know, kind of this non-stop childlike resilience to everything. Well, yeah, I'd love to come back to Portugal and make another movie. I'd want to maybe spend more time here to kind of absorb the culture a little more rather than writing it before having been here. So my girlfriend and I have talked about trying to stay out here for a little bit longer. So if that's the case, I'd certainly want to write something.